All right, picture this for a second. David gets paid on Friday. He opens his banking app while still in bed, one eye half open, thumb scrolling like it's muscle memory. He sees the number and feels that tiny wave of relief. Rent's covered. Card balance isn't scary. Maybe this month he'll finally be good with money. He skips takeout that night, transfers a bit to savings, watches a couple of finance videos while lying there in the dark. He's doing what he's supposed to do. The smart stuff, the responsible stuff. And I don't know why, but I've spent an embarrassing amount of my life thinking about money, why we handle it the way we do, and why people who try so hard still feel stuck. Because honestly, I used to be David in ways that felt completely normal at the time. Here's the twist. A lot of the advice that sounds mature, disciplined, and financially responsible is exactly what quietly keeps you broke. Not instantly, not dramatically, just slowly, politely over years. And once you notice it, you start seeing it everywhere, in your habits, your thoughts, your I'll-start-later plans. David's golden rule was simple. At least I'm not in debt. That was the bar. If his credit card wasn't maxed and his payments were on time, he felt like he was winning. Responsible adult behavior. Gold star. You've thought this too, haven't you? I'm not messing up, so I must be doing fine. But don't fall behind is a survival strategy, not a wealth strategy. It keeps you from drowning, sure, but it doesn't teach you how to swim forward. There was a Federal Reserve survey that found nearly 40% of adults would struggle to cover a $400 emergency without borrowing or selling something. That's not because everyone is reckless. It's because most people are playing financial defense their whole life. No offense, no asset building, just trying not to slip. One-step example. David avoids a $500 investment to stay safe. That $500 could have doubled over time. Safety quietly cost him $500 in growth. It never felt like a mistake. It felt responsible. Then there's the advice that sounds flawless. Just save more. And saving is good, necessary even. But David turned saving into the final destination instead of a stop along the way. He had $15,000 sitting in a savings account earning almost nothing. He felt proud of it, secure, like he was ahead of most people. Meanwhile, prices kept creeping up. Groceries, rent, everything. Long-term inflation in many economies averages around 2 to 3% a year. If your money earns less than that, your purchasing power shrinks, slowly, invisibly. You don't feel poorer, but your money buys less every year. You told yourself, I just need a bigger cushion first. The cushion kept getting bigger, investing kept getting delayed. One-step example. David keeps $10,000 in cash, earning 1%. Inflation runs at 3%. He loses 2% of real value each year. It's wild how being careful can quietly mean moving backward. Now, let's talk about the fan favorite. Treat yourself. You deserve it. And listen, you do deserve nice things. Life is stressful. Work is exhausting. That little reward feels like proof that all the effort means something. David got a small raise. Nothing crazy, but enough to feel like progress. Within months, he had a slightly nicer apartment, better takeout spots, upgraded subscriptions. No big splurges, just a smoother lifestyle. Psychologists have studied something called hedonic adaptation. Basically, we get used to improvements fast. A pay raise feels amazing for a while. Then it becomes normal. But the higher expenses, those stay. So your happiness goes back to baseline, but your cost of living locks in at a higher level. Example, David's raise equals plus $300 a month. Lifestyle upgrades equal plus $250 a month. Only $50 left to build wealth. You didn't blow the money, you just absorbed it into your life. Another one that sounds extremely grown up. Buy quality, not cheap stuff. and sometimes that's true. But David turned it into a lifestyle identity. Every purchase became a story about durability, self-respect, or future me will thank me. Suddenly, he's buying the premium version of almost everything. Not luxury, just always the better one. Slightly more expensive shoes, slightly nicer gadgets, slightly upgraded everything. You did this without even noticing, right? You weren't being flashy, you were being wise. Take David as an example. David upgrades 6 purchases by $120 each. That's $720 extra spent. $720 not invested for years. Quality became the justification for permanent higher spending. Here's a sneaky one. Wait until you make more money to start investing. It sounds logical, humble even, like you're being realistic. But investment companies like Vanguard have published research showing that time in the market matters more than trying to invest larger amounts later. Starting early, even with small sums, often beats starting late with bigger ones because compounding needs time more than size. David kept saying, "When I earn more, I'll do it properly." But when he earned more, life was more expensive. New rent, new expectations, new "I'll start soon." So, David delays investing $150 per month for 5 years. That's $9,000 not invested early. Years of compounding gone. Waiting felt responsible. It was actually fear wearing a sensible outfit. Let's talk about budgeting. Budgeting is helpful, but David got obsessed with tiny expenses while ignoring giant financial decisions. He cut small pleasures, tracked every coffee, canceled $9 subscriptions like he was defusing bombs. Meanwhile, he never negotiated his salary, never explored higher-paying skills, never moved his idle savings into investments. Behavioral economists have found that people focus more on small, frequent expenses because they're visible and controllable, even though big, infrequent financial decisions often matter far more long-term. You focused on the $4 problems and ignored the $40,000 ones. David saves $30 a month, cutting small treats, but never asks for a $4,000 raise. Effort in the wrong battlefield. It felt productive. It wasn't powerful. Then there's play it safe with your career. Stable job, predictable path, don't rock the boat. David stayed in a comfortable role for years because it felt secure. No risk, same routines, same pay bumps. Meanwhile, people around him switched roles, learned new skills, or took calculated jumps and saw bigger income growth. A long-term study from the Bureau of Labor Statistics showed that people who change jobs strategically often see larger wage increases than those who stay put for long periods. You weren't lazy, you were loyal, cautious, sensible. So let's take an example. David stays for a 3% annual raise. Could have moved for a 12% bump. The gap compounds every year. Safety can be expensive when it stops you from growing.
Here's the emotional core of all this. You weren't trying to be rich. You were trying to be safe, stable, calm. You wanted to avoid stress, not chase millions. And most common money advice is built exactly for that. Reduce mistakes, avoid disaster, stay comfortable. But wealth doesn't grow from comfort alone. It grows from intentional action, small calculated risks, and putting money to work instead of just storing it. Nobody says that loudly because be careful sounds kinder than be bold, less scary, more responsible. And honestly, I still feel the pull of those safe habits all the time. The urge to delay, to cushion, to wait until things feel perfect. They never feel perfect. If this feels like someone's been secretly narrating your financial life, that's not because you failed. It's because you followed rules designed to help you survive, not rules designed to help you build. Now you get to shift the question. Not how do I avoid losing money, but how do I give my money a job that grows? You don't need extreme risks. You don't need to flip your life upside down. Just small changes in direction. starting earlier, investing stoner, focusing on big levers, letting raises grow your future instead of your lifestyle. You were never bad with money. You were just playing a defensive game in a world where offense is what builds wealth. And the good news? You can change the game anytime you decide to.
If this video helped you see money a little differently, hit like so more people can find it. And if you want to avoid the mistakes that keep most people stuck, subscribe. I post videos like this every week. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.